Okay. I'm beginning to think like videoing life every day for this new concept of Mo thoughts. It's happening, and it's part of my healing now. It's just part of, like, I'm just like, okay, I have to do this. I want to do this. I need to do this. Woo! Okay. I'm in a really good mood today, which has been unique because the first half of this week was all about my feelings. I was feeling this sense of grief. Yeah, I was feeling this sense of accomplishment and celebration of this transformation. And as I continued through this week, I've shared a little bit about this journey. And now I'm just in this space where it's Friday. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day. It's genuinely a spring day outside, which, if you know anything about living up here in the mountains, in western North Carolina, we've had a very unique and very long cold winter. We've had a few teases that spring was around the corner, and then it would get freezing cold again. It's been super fun. So the fact I'm in a tank top today is everything. It's everything to me right now. Everything. I'm just in a different headspace today. I went and did a lot of homework this week. I worked in my tarot cards. I worked in my journaling. I worked in a burn ceremony with my crystals. Like, I checked off the boxes spiritually on all levels, trying to understand like these emotions I've been having, and feelings, and this push and pull, and just like what all this means to me. And what it came down to is simply this. Since the beginning of year, I have gone through a lot of major transformations and changes, some of which I have not shared with you. Which the whole purpose of my YouTube channel is to just be upfront and honest. I've told you when I was dating and happy. I've told you when I was engaged. I've gone through that with you. So let me break it down, all that's happened since the beginning of the year till now, April 22nd, 2022. 2222! Angel number! Woo! Okay, sorry. Again, really high on life right now. Don't mind me at all. I started the year being engaged. Yeah. There was a trigger that happened in that relationship that really pushed me to a space of fight or flight, survival mode, and I pushed him away. That's the real truth. I pushed him away. I didn't like the trigger that was being thrown at me, and to be honest, I didn't like the feelings that were inside of me, and I never wanted to feel that again. And I've been working really, 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 really hard for the last few years to not have those feelings and to really let go of those, and to be triggered and felt like I was backtracking on emotions and recklessness that I have not felt in a while really scared the shit out of me, and I pushed and pushed until we broke. At the same time, I also focused that maybe that push and that break was also a time for me to really focus on my calling and my purpose, and think about my book, and think about the public speaking ventures I needed to do and wanted to do, and my voice, and like just it really started to come that breakup actually was meant to happen, because within 72 hours I was back in the community of anti-trafficking and being part of that movement, and really just dove right back in. Like, the last year and a half never happened, and truly dove right back in. I've been a volunteer for nonprofits in the anti-trafficking movement now for a while, but this time is very different. I'm actually going in as of May 7th as a board of directors for a nonprofit that I have been with now for almost 4 years. I'm really proud of this moment. And so that was the beginning of the year, right? I'm going through these transitions. I'm deciding to end an engagement. I recognize I broke someone's heart. But what I did next was very reckless. What I did next is I actually went to someone that he and I had been circling for a couple of years now. And I gave that a chance, even without knowing or understanding that my heart had yet to heal from my decisions to end an engagement. Some may call it a rebound. I saw it more of like, I just need to know. When I got to know that situation a little bit more, I recognized it's simply a backtrack for me and a toxic pattern and trait of myself that I was pulling myself back into a toxic relationship. I too would end that. In this time as well, my daughter spent a month in Florida because, to be honest, because mommy here, me, was in a really dark space. And I needed that time to genuinely heal. And my ex-husband was also in school at the time. And him and I discussed it, and it just seemed like a good fit while we were working through in our own personal lives to give our daughter the opportunity to go be with family, to not be part of that toxic energy and stress that he and I were both really throwing out there. And my family was very open to the idea, because she is young, to give her the opportunity to just be a kid, focus on her, and give us the opportunity to focus on needs that need to be met for our co-parenting, as well as needs that needed to be met for ourselves to grow and evolve. I'm very thankful for my family for this. It gave me that season to really understand my value, my worth, my self-love. I cried a whole lot. I was in a ton of emotions and a lot of healing. And even at one point, I truly felt I was relapsing back into survival mode. I was hands down in rawest, most vulnerable form. Like, whew, it was tough. And I know I've been on this video now for weeks and weeks, but I don't feel like I've been very genuine on what's going on in my personal life. That is my purpose here, right? Is to discuss this. And so like this is that moment right now. This is that moment. And so in this journey now, about a week and a half ago, an ex of mine that we shared a very deep soul connection with each other walked back into my life for just a hot minute. And I mean like a hot minute. But what that helped both of us do was to really get the closure we needed that we didn't get before. We broke up in a very sabotaging way, like ghosting and not talking again, after being very serious and very committed. And we were not only in each other's lives, we were in our family's lives. And he was my first genuine relationship after my marriage. At that time, we were both healing. He had lost his baby brother about a year before we started dating. And I was just new to the dating scene after my separation with my husband. And so I was still healing and trying to understand myself. We understood how strong our soul connection was and the love we shared for one another. We just didn't know how to handle it, nor take care of it and nurture it. So eventually we would sabotage the relationship and move our separate ways. And when we didn't do so in a very healthy way. And recently, the universe allowed that conversation to happen, and actually that reunion to happen. And it was beautiful. It was memorable. But what it also taught me too is that we are two different people now. But the greatest gift the universe did give us was that opportunity to have that reunion and then shut that door and get that closure that we both needed. And it was beautiful. It was as though like we were able to take a new breath of fresh air and realize, you know what? We did have this beautiful soul connection. We didn't nurture it well, but we've moved on with life. And I wish you all the best in love and success. And that was simply that. On top of this, one of my best friends, who's a guy, he and I have been circling we've been circling for a long time. 2 years. And that came back recently. And again, I just feel like the universe is keeping these cycles either going or actually closing them for the first time. Like I said, it's like right now I feel like I'm in this energetic fields of emotions, yet the universe is opening old doors for me to close them properly, which is a great gift. Because Because some of these doors that are being reopened need to be closed the proper way. One of my best guy friends, I care deeply about. And he still has a lot of healing to do. And, I'm there for him. And we recently had a good reunion. And it made us both realize how precious our friendship is. And I'm very thankful for that. Because for over a month, we didn't talk. And I genuinely felt like I lost my best friend. And I'm happy that that's kind of cycled back. And the universe is like, no, like this friendship you two have is something that benefits both of you. You both benefit from this friendship. And so I'm very grateful for that. I've had some slip-ups as well. Recently, another gentleman from my past that I love and is a good friend. We've been lovers in the past, but we are good friends. I slipped recently and reached out to him, and he had to put me back in my place. He goes, you are getting too wrapped up as a hopeless romantic, and you're getting too wrapped up that you want the happy ending without realizing you're already in your happy ending. It's like, you're right. Fuck. And so there's that codependency thing I'm still breaking. Like I've said multiple times over, I've been in a relationship. I've had my seasons where I am to myself. I am still very proud that the house I am in right now, I have a no boys rule. I have a no boys sleepover rule. And I'm so very proud about that. Very proud about that. But with everything going on and these life lessons and these pivots and these doors reopening and then closing again in the proper way, I'm learning that over the last 3 months, the universe is getting me ready for my new beginning. Because what also I learned recently, recent in the last few weeks, is I am in my 7th year out of the life. I am in my 7th year out of the life. What does that mean? Well, it's been 7 years since the last time my body was sold for sex or that I was getting paid for sex. It's been 7 years since I broke that life. It's been 7 years since I was hospitalized. It's been 7 years completely leaving all that behind. And so what is great about the 7th year? Well, there's a lot of great things about the 7 years. Okay. 7 is a rebirth. It's the end of a cycle. To get through your 7th year and be able to say, next year, I'm in my 8th year, I did it, is going to help so many survivors who are in their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, even 5th year. Is going to help that survivor that's in their 7th year next year and be like, she did it, I can do it. Because you know what the hardest part about all this healing and all this time mentally preparing for your new beginnings, to forgive yourself, to forgive those who have hurt you and abused you, to learn yourself, to understand your identity, to cut out toxic traits and to cut out toxic patterns, to cut out toxic people, to let go, to have this idea, it is what it is, to allow God to shut the door on people who do not value you. There's so much going on, right? There's so much going on. But you know what the hardest thing is yes, there are times in my mind and times in other survivors' minds where we want to get reckless. And we just want to be like, you know what? Fuck it. And we relapse. We relapse. Not every survivor that comes out of the life gets to their 7th year. Not every survivor that comes out of life gets to their 10th year. Some relapse. Some take their own life. So for me to be here today and for days to come and to be in this moment and feel this and know that I am transforming, I am transitioning, I am healed, I am walking into my new beginning. I am walking into my new identity of self. I'm recognizing my value, my worth, who I'm supposed to be, where I'm supposed to be, who's supposed to be next to me and my side of support, my community of support. The more I push this, the more I continue this journey, I'm one step closer to helping another survivor get here. That's really cool. I'm one step closer to helping another survivor get here. And you may not be a survivor of trafficking or a survivor of abuse. You may be a survivor of trauma. You may be a survivor of childhood trauma, and you're just figuring out at 29 that, oh shit, I need all that I did, all that time that I spent disassociating as a child was my way of ignoring my own self to avoid the abuse. And now I have to think about all those things now. Who knows? Who knows what it is that you are fighting for in your mind mentally? But I am here to tell you can do it because you watch me do it every single week. And right now I'm in this space. I'm like, you know what? You're going to start seeing me most days. More, except for the weekends. Because I love my kiddo and I love my weekends with her. But now I'm just in the space I want to share more. Things are really working in my favor in a way that I never in a million years thought they would. Like getting my dream jobs. I'm going to be on a TV show on May 10th. Wow. I'm doing podcast interviews. Cool. I am becoming the individual I have strived to be for so long. I just put in my deposits to start that journey to finish my book by midsummer. That's scary shit. We just came out with a new cover and title that is the backbone for me to move forward in this project. But these last few months have really turned the tables. Have really pushed me to not only know my boundaries, that's key, know my boundaries, but truly understand these universal life lessons. Do I miss my fiance? Sure. Is there times where I'm just like, I just want to pick up the phone and say I'm sorry, and I'm pretty confident he would take me back and we could start over? Sure. Is it the right thing to do? No. Because I'm not even the same person I was when I broke up with him. Have I learned life lessons and been able to close doors with the what ifs? Yeah. That kind of really makes me really emotional because I have now been able to get to that space where those what ifs I've had, those doors have closed. There is no more what ifs. There's just now. And tomorrow, and the future, and these projects that are right here, just like this. Woo! Like, here you go. Here you go. All right, you're ready. And so, as I've meditated and observed this week, as I have been in my feelings, as I have grieved this week, I'm realizing more and more that these emotions I'm having are truly validated. But I'm also learning that the grief I needed to go through this week, this brain funk, this mind brain fog, just like my motivation, my productivity this week was very little. Very little. But what it taught me is I needed that time. I needed to release. I needed to grieve. I needed to let go. I needed to go for the several, and then I mean several drives I went on. Driving for me is my piece of paradise. When I take a drive, I usually do like a huge circle. Sometimes that circle is like 30 minutes. Sometimes the circle is 15. Sometimes the big circle I make is an hour. But these drives I do, I've been doing them since I could drive, since I had my first car. That is my time to think. I talk to myself. I listen to music. I cry it out. I've done all those things this week. I have cried it out. I've also filled my cup. I went and saw my best guy friend and had a wonderful evening with him. And that filled my cup. I did. It was great. I've also taken time to focus on my girlfriends this week a little bit more. Talk with them. Really dig into my feminine energy a little bit more. Now I'm starting to see I need to start transitioning a little bit from feminine and find that balance between feminine energy and masculine energy, and that's what I'll be working on the next few weeks to come. Really grabbing hold of this project and the book and moving forward. Because as I look down on my paper right now, I have a ton to do. I have a list of things I still have to accomplish I have not accomplished this week because of my grief, because of my emotions, because I've been in my feelings. But I can't look back on this week and be like, oh, it wasn't productive. No. Because a lot of times, that's how our older generation would see it. Our baby boomers would probably see it as, you didn't get much done this week. How are you being productive? And kind of like poke the bear a little bit. But the way I see it this week was very productive mentally. The way I see it, everything that has been aligned this week has been perfect in giving me that time and space for healing, for transformation, for releasing. And that's key, releasing. I have done a lot of releasing this week. Going back through and skimming through like a fine-tooth comb this last few months, over the last few days, of understanding my emotions and validating my change, my transformation. And I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great today. That could change tomorrow. That could change next week. And I will be here to share that with you. But this is the 7th year for me. This is also a year of Aquarius, which is a huge awakening for a lot of people. There's a lot of energy happening this year. A ton of energy happening this year. And the more in tune you are the more in tune you are with the universe spiritually, the more you feel it. The more you can feel the whole world just transforming, transitioning, and moving. You can feel those who are being awoke. And so this is a really powerful year. It's my 7th year. It's the year of Aquarius. It's the first year for all of us that COVID is still present, but we are getting back to our daily lives and routine. It's a big year. It's a huge year. My daughter graduates preschool this year. She goes into elementary school at the beginning of the school year. It's a huge year for a lot of people. And I feel that. So keep going. If you don't have that very productive week, don't bully yourself to think you're not enough because you didn't get enough done. Fuck that. That's not the lives we live anymore. I look forward to the day that I have a company where I have employees that can, without using it against themselves or against the company, I'm looking forward to the day where my company that I will one day own for survivors will give the opportunity for my employees that if they need a mental health day and they don't abuse that time by having a mental health day every week, but let's just say they're having a really rough week, they can come to me, their boss, and hey, I'm having a really strong struggle this week mentally. I'm in a brain fog. I'm just not energetically in a good space. I want to be that boss who's you know what, take the day off. Or if it's more in depth, I can tell them, you know what, take 3 days off. Really get up in here, talk about it, but come back ready to go, ready to kill it and get back into the game, get back into that project. I can't wait to really normalize mental health days. I do it for myself. I did it this week. But I can't wait to do it for my own team. for my own company and really normalize what that means and how that is actually helping my company thrive, because I recognize in my own team the importance that mental health has on our success, on our productivity, on our love languages, on our friendships, on our relationships, on our marriages, on our parenting. If I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm just really happy today. It's Friday. It's Earth Day. It's a beautiful spring day. I'm going to go celebrate that. I have some work I actually do have to complete today. But in all, I'm very grateful and thankful for how this week has come out, how this week has blossomed. It has taught me a lot. And I need to give myself more grace and compassion over the lack of productivity this week, because my body and my mind needed to be productive in other ways. It needed to rest. It needed to grieve. It needed to cry. It needed to be in those feelings. So I'm grateful for that. You guys are wonderful. I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful weekend. Stay safe. No drinking and driving. Bye, guys.